Welcome to the English learning community. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we're diving into something truly special. A story that's not just going to improve your listening and writing skills, but also inspire you to take your English to the next level. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's get started. Have you ever been in a situation where someone was speaking and you just couldn't catch everything they said? Or maybe you were trying to write something, an email, a message, or even a story, but the words just wouldn't come to you. Trust me, we've all been there. But here's the good news. Today's episode is designed to help you overcome those challenges. We're going to explore real-life stories and examples that show you exactly how English is used in everyday conversations. These stories are packed with practical vocabulary, natural sentence structures, and tips that will boost your confidence and fluency. By the end of this episode, you'll not only understand English better, but also feel more comfortable using it in your own life. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a few questions. These are meant to get you thinking and set the stage for what's coming next. So, as you listen to today's episode, keep these questions in mind. 1. Have you ever felt nervous about speaking English because you were afraid of making mistakes? 2. What's one situation where you struggled to understand someone speaking English? 3. When you write in English, do you sometimes feel like you're missing the right words? These questions are more than just food for thought. They're the foundation of what we're about to explore. The story you're going to hear today is all about overcoming fear, embracing mistakes, and finding the courage to keep going. It's about real people, real challenges, and real growth. And trust me, by the end of it, you'll feel inspired to take on your own English learning journey with a fresh perspective. So, are you ready? Let's jump into today's story and discover how mistakes can actually be magic in disguise. Let's go. Mistakes are magic. How errors help you master English. The fear of mistakes. Lena was a 28-year-old woman from Poland who had always dreamed of speaking English fluently. She loved watching British TV shows and listening to American music, but whenever she tried to speak English, she felt a knot in her stomach. She was terrified of making mistakes. What if people laugh at me? She thought. What if I sound stupid? Lena's fear of mistakes held her back for years. She avoided speaking English at work, even though her job required it. She stayed quiet during meetings, nodding along even when she didn't understand. She relied on Google Translate to write emails, spending hours crafting the perfect message. But deep down, she knew she wasn't improving. She was stuck. One day, Lena's boss called her into his office. "Lena," he said, "we have a big project coming up, and I need you to lead the presentation for our international clients." Lena's heart dropped. "But my English isn't good enough," she stammered. Her boss smiled. "You're smarter than you think, Lena. Just give it a try." That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She felt like she was standing at the edge of a cliff, too scared to jump. But she also knew this was her chance to prove herself. She decided to face her fear head-on. Life lesson from part 1. 1. Fear holds you back. Lena's fear of mistakes stopped her from growing, but when she faced it, she discovered her potential. 2. Mistakes are part of learning. No one becomes fluent overnight. Every mistake is a step forward. 3. Opportunities push you to grow. Lena's boss gave her a challenge, and it became a turning point in her journey. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. What if? a phrase to express worry or curiosity about the future. 2. I'm not good enough, a common self-doubt phrase. 3. Just give it a try, encouragement to take a chance. 4. I couldn't sleep, a way to describe feeling anxious or excited. The first step. Lena spent the next week preparing for the presentation. She practiced her speech in front of the mirror, recorded herself, and even asked her friend Marta to listen. Marta was fluent in English and had always encouraged Lena to speak more. Don't worry about mistakes, Marta said. Everyone makes them. The important thing is to communicate. On the day of the presentation, Lena's hands were shaking as she stood in front of the room. She took a deep breath and began. At first, her voice was soft, and she stumbled over a few words. But as she continued, she gained confidence. She made a few mistakes. She said data instead of date, and mixed up increase and decrease, but she didn't let it stop her. She kept going. When she finished, the room was silent for a moment. Then, one of the clients smiled and said, "Great job, Lena. You explained everything clearly." Lena felt a rush of relief and pride. She had done it. She had faced her fear and survived. After the meeting, her boss pulled her aside. "Lena, I'm proud of you. You were nervous, but you didn't let it stop you. That's what matters." Lena realized that her mistakes hadn't ruined the presentation. In fact, they had made her more relatable. The clients didn't expect perfection, they just wanted to understand her. Life lesson from part 2. 1. Mistakes make you human. People don't expect perfection. They value effort and honesty. 2. Confidence grows with action. The more Lena practiced, the more confident she became. 3. Support is key. Marta's encouragement helped Lena take the first step. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. Don't worry about mistakes. A phrase to reassure someone. 2. You explained everything clearly. A compliment for effective communication. 3. I'm proud of you. A way to express approval and encouragement. 4. That's what matters. A phrase to emphasize the most important thing. The turning point. After the presentation, Lena's confidence grew. She started speaking English more often, both at work and in her personal life. She joined a language exchange group where she met people from all over the world. They were all learning, just like her, and they didn't judge her for her mistakes. In fact, they celebrated them. One day, Lena met a man named Tom from Ireland. Tom was learning Polish, and they decided to practice together. Tom made a lot of mistakes in Polish, but he laughed them off. "Mistakes are magic," he said. "They show you what you need to work on." Lena loved his attitude. It reminded her that learning a language wasn't about being perfect. It was about connecting with others. Tom and Lena became good friends. They met every week to practice, and Lena started to see her mistakes as opportunities to learn. One day, she accidentally said, "I am boring," instead of "I am bored." Tom laughed and said, "Well, are you boring?" Lena laughed too. "No, I'm just bored," she corrected herself. From that day on, she never forgot the difference between boring and bored. Life lesson. From part 3. 1. Mistakes are opportunities. Every mistake teaches you something new. 2. Laughter helps. When you laugh at your mistakes, they lose their power over you. 3. Language is about connection. Lena and Tom's friendship showed her that communication is more important than perfection. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. Mistakes are magic. A playful way to see mistakes as learning opportunities. 2. They show you what you need to work on. A phrase to explain the value of mistakes. 3. I am bored versus I am boring. A common mistake that teaches an important difference. 4. Laughter helps. A phrase to show the power of humor, the power of persistence. As weeks turned into months, Lena's English improved dramatically. She no longer dreaded speaking in front of others. In fact, she started to enjoy it. She even volunteered to lead more presentations at work, and each time she felt a little more confident. But her journey wasn't without its challenges. One day, Lena was asked to give a speech at a company conference. It was a big event, with over 200 people attending, including senior executives from around the world. Lena felt the familiar knot of anxiety in her stomach, but this time, she didn't let it stop her. She spent weeks preparing, practicing her speech over and over until she knew it by heart. On the day of the conference, Lena stood backstage, her heart pounding. She took a deep breath and reminded herself of Tom's words. Mistakes are magic. She walked onto the stage, looked out at the audience, and began her speech. Everything was going well until halfway through, when she stumbled over a word. She paused for a moment, feeling her face turn red. But instead of panicking, she smiled and said, "Sorry, let me try that again." The audience chuckled warmly, and Lena continued. By the end of her speech, she received a standing ovation. After the event, several people came up to her to congratulate her. One executive said, "Lena, your speech was inspiring. You didn't let a small mistake stop you, and that's what made it so powerful." Lena realized that her willingness to embrace her imperfections had made her more relatable and authentic. Life lesson from Part 4. 1. Persistence pays off. Lena's hard work and determination helped her overcome her fears. 2. Imperfections make you human. The audience connected with Lena because she was real, not perfect. 3. Small mistakes don't define you. It's how you handle them that matters. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. Sorry, let me try that again. A polite way to correct yourself. 2. Your speech was inspiring. A compliment to acknowledge someone's impact. 3. You didn't let a small mistake stop you. A phrase to praise resilience. 4. That's what made it so powerful. A way to highlight the strength in imperfection. The ripple effect. Lena's journey didn't just change her life, it inspired others too. At work, her colleagues noticed her transformation and started asking her for advice. "How did you get so confident?" they asked. Lena smiled and said, "By making mistakes and learning from them." She started a weekly English practice group at her office, where employees could come together to practice speaking without fear of judgment. The group became so popular that even native English speakers joined to help. Lena loved seeing her colleagues grow and gain confidence, just as she had. One day, Lena received an email from a young woman named Anna, who had attended one of her presentations. Anna wrote, "Your story gave me the courage to start learning English. I used to be so scared of making mistakes, but now I see them as part of the journey. Thank you for inspiring me." Lena felt tears in her eyes as she read the email. She realized that her mistakes had not only helped her grow, but had also created a ripple effect, inspiring others to face their own fears. Life lesson from Part 5. 1. Your journey can inspire others. Lena's courage to embrace her mistakes motivated those around her. 2. Mistakes create connections. By sharing her struggles, Lena built a community of learners. 3. Gratitude is powerful. Anna's email reminded Lena of how far she had come and the impact she had made. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. How did you get so confident? a question to ask someone about their growth. 2. By making mistakes and learning from them. A simple explanation of personal growth. 3. Your story gave me the courage. A heartfelt way to express gratitude and inspiration. 4. Thank you for inspiring me. A phrase to show appreciation for someone's impact. The final twist, a new chapter. Lena's journey came full circle when she was invited to speak at a language learning conference in Dublin. The theme of the conference was Mistakes Are Magic, How Errors Help You Master a Language. Lena couldn't believe it. She was going to share her story on a global stage. When she arrived in Dublin, she was nervous but excited. As she stood on the stage, looking out at the audience, she felt a sense of calm. She began her speech by saying, "A few years ago, I was too scared to order a coffee in English. Today, I'm standing here, speaking to all of you. If I can do it, so can you." She shared her story, her fears, her mistakes, her triumphs. She talked about how every error had taught her something valuable and how embracing imperfection had changed her life. The audience listened intently, and when she finished, they erupted into applause. After her speech, a young man approached her. He was from Spain and had been struggling with his English. "Lena," he said, "your story gave me hope. I've been so afraid of making mistakes, but now I see that they're just part of the process." "Thank you," Lena smiled. "You're welcome," she said. "Remember, mistakes are magic. They're not the end of the journey. They're the beginning." Final life lesson. 1. Mistakes are stepping stones. Every error is an opportunity to learn and grow. 2. Your story has power. Sharing your struggles can inspire and uplift others. 3. If I can do it, so can you. Lena's journey is proof that anyone can overcome their fears with persistence and courage. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. If I can do it, so can you. A phrase to inspire and motivate others. 2. Mistakes are magic. A playful way to reframe errors as opportunities. 3. They're not the end of the journey, they're the beginning. A phrase to emphasize growth and resilience. 4. Your story gave me hope. A heartfelt way to express gratitude and inspiration. Conclusion. Lena's story is a reminder that mistakes are not something to fear. They are essential to growth. Whether you're learning a new language, starting a new job, or chasing a dream, remember that every error is a lesson in disguise. Embrace your imperfections, laugh at your mistakes, and keep moving forward. Because in the end, it's not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try the unexpected challenge. Just when Lena thought she had conquered her fear of mistakes, life threw her another curveball. A few months after her speech in Dublin, her company announced a major restructuring. Lena's team was being merged with another department, and she was asked to take on a new role, one that required even more advanced English skills, including writing detailed reports and leading high-stakes negotiations. At first, Lena felt excited. This was a huge opportunity to grow in her career. But as she started her new role, she quickly realized how much she still had to learn. The reports were filled with technical jargon, and the negotiations required her to think on her feet in English. She made mistakes, sometimes small, sometimes big. Once, she accidentally used the word aggressive instead of assertive during a negotiation, which completely changed the tone of the conversation. The client was offended, and Lena felt like she had failed. That night, she called Tom, her Irish friend. "I don't know if I can do this," she confessed. "I keep making mistakes, and it's costing me." Tom listened patiently and then said, "Lena, Remember what you told me? Mistakes are magic. They're not the end. They're the beginning. You're learning. And that's what matters. Tom's words stuck with Lena. The next day, she decided to approach her new role with a different mindset. Instead of fearing mistakes, she would see them as opportunities to improve. She started keeping a mistake journal where she wrote down every error she made and how she could fix it. She also asked her colleagues for feedback, even when it was hard to hear. Life lesson from Part 6. 1. Growth comes from discomfort. Lena's new role pushed her out of her comfort zone, but it also helped her grow. 2. Feedback is a gift. Asking for feedback, even when it's tough, can help you improve. 3. Mistakes are data. Lena's mistake journal turned her errors into valuable lessons. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. I don't know if I can do this. A phrase to express self-doubt. 2. It's costing me. A way to say that something is causing problems. 3. Mistakes are magic. A reminder to see errors as opportunities. 4. Feedback is a gift. A phrase to emphasize the value of constructive criticism. The breakthrough. Lena's persistence paid off. Over time, her reports became more polished and her negotiations more effective. She even started to enjoy the challenge of finding the right words to express her ideas. One day, during a particularly tough negotiation, she used a phrase she had practiced in her mistake journal. Let's find a win-win solution. The client smiled and said, I like that approach. Let's work together. After the meeting, Lena's boss pulled her aside. Lena, I've noticed how much you've improved. You've turned your weaknesses into strengths, and that's exactly the kind of leadership we need. Lena felt a surge of pride. She had worked so hard, and now it was paying off. But the real breakthrough came when Lena was asked to mentor a new employee, a young woman named Sophia from Italy. Sophia was shy and struggled with her English, just like Lena had when she first started. Lena shared her story with Sophia, including all the mistakes she had made along the way. Don't be afraid to mess up, Lena said. Every mistake is a step forward. Sophia smiled. Thank you, Lena. Your story gives me hope. Life lesson from Part 7. 1. Hard work pays off. Lena's dedication to improving her English opened new doors for her. 2. Leadership is about lifting others. Lena's willingness to share her struggles helped Sophia feel less alone. 3. Every mistake is a step forward. Lena's journey showed that progress comes from persistence, not perfection. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. Let's find a win-win solution. A phrase to suggest collaboration. 2. You've turned your weaknesses into strengths. A compliment for personal growth. 3. Don't be afraid to mess up. Encouragement to embrace mistakes. 4. Your story gives me hope. A heartfelt way to express inspiration. The full circle moment. A year later, Lena was invited to speak at another conference, this time in her hometown of Warsaw. The theme of the conference was the power of persistence, how mistakes shape success. Lena felt a deep sense of gratitude as she stood on the stage, looking out at the audience. She saw Sophia in the front row, smiling proudly. Lena began her speech by saying, "A few years ago, I was too scared to speak English in front of anyone. Today, I'm standing here in my hometown, sharing my story with all of you. If I can do it, so can you." She talked about her journey, the fear, the mistakes, the breakthroughs. She shared how every error had taught her something valuable, and how embracing imperfection had changed her life. The audience listened intently, and when she finished, they gave her a standing ovation. After the speech, Sophia came up to her. "Lena," she said, "you've inspired me to keep going, no matter how many mistakes I make." "Thank you," Lena hugged her. "You're welcome, Sophia. Remember, mistakes are magic." Final life lesson 1. Your journey can inspire others. Lena's story showed that sharing your struggles can motivate others to keep going. 2. Mistakes are part of success. Every error Lena made brought her closer to her goals. 3. If I can do it, so can you. Lena's journey is proof that anyone can overcome their fears with persistence and courage. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. The power of persistence. A phrase to describe the value of not giving up. 2. Mistakes shape success. A way to reframe errors as part of the journey. 3. You've inspired me to keep going. A heartfelt way to express gratitude and motivation. 4. Mistakes are magic. A playful reminder to see errors as opportunities. Conclusion. Lena's story is a testament to the power of persistence and the magic of mistakes. She started as a shy, self-conscious woman afraid to speak English, and grew into a confident leader who inspired others. Her journey reminds us that mistakes are not failures, they are stepping stones to success. So, the next time you make a mistake, don't be afraid. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Because in the end, it's not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try. The hilarious finale, just when Lena thought her journey couldn't get any more eventful, life decided to add a little humor to the mix. A few weeks after her speech in Warsaw, Lena was invited to a fancy dinner hosted by her company's international partners. It was a black tie event, and Lena was excited, but also a little nervous. She had never been to such a formal gathering before. As she walked into the grand ballroom, she felt like she had stepped into a movie. There were chandeliers, live music, and waiters carrying trays of fancy hors d'oeuvres. Lena spotted her boss and some colleagues across the room and decided to join them. On her way, a waiter approached her with a tray of what looked like tiny, colorful desserts. "Would you like a macaron?" the waiter asked politely. Lena, trying to sound sophisticated, replied, "Yes, please. I love macaroni." The waiter froze for a second, his professional smile wavering. Lena's colleagues, who had overheard, burst into laughter. One of them, a British colleague named James, said, "Lena, I didn't know you were such a fan of pasta desserts." Lena's face turned bright red. "Oh no, I meant macarons," she said, laughing at herself. "I guess my love for Italian food got the better of me." The group laughed even harder, and soon Lena was laughing too. She realized that even after all her progress, she could still make silly mistakes. And that was okay. In fact, it made the moment even more memorable. Life lesson from part 9. 1. Laughter is the best medicine. Even embarrassing moments can turn into funny stories if you laugh at yourself. 2. Nobody's perfect. No matter how much you improve, you'll still make mistakes, and that's part of being human. 3. Mistakes make great memories. Lena's macaroni moment became a story she and her colleagues would laugh about for years. Natural English phrases to learn. 1. Would you like a macaron? A polite way to offer something. 2. I love macaroni. A funny mix-up that shows how similar words can cause confusion. 3. I guess my love for Italian food got the better of me. A playful way to explain a mistake. 4. Laughter is the best medicine. A saying that highlights the power of humor. The grand finale, a toast to mistakes. At the end of the dinner, Lena's boss stood up to make a toast. "To our incredible team," he said, raising his glass, and to Lena, who reminds us that mistakes are not just okay, they're essential. After all, without mistakes, we wouldn't have moments like the great macaroni mix-up of 2025. The room erupted into laughter and applause. Lena stood up, her face still a little red, and raised her glass. "To mistakes," she said, grinning. "May they always teach us, humble us, and give us something to laugh about." As she sat down, James leaned over and whispered, "By the way, Lena, if you ever want to start a pasta-themed dessert business, count me in." Lena laughed so hard she almost spilled her drink. It was the perfect ending to a night full of surprises, and a reminder that even in the fanciest of settings, a little humor goes a long way. Final life lesson: 1. Embrace the humor in mistakes. Even the most embarrassing moments can turn into funny stories. 2. Mistakes bring people together. Lena's mix-up became a shared joke that brought her closer to her colleagues. 3. Life is better when you don't take yourself too seriously. Lena's ability to laugh at herself made her even more likable and relatable. Conclusion: Lena's journey came full circle in the most unexpected and hilarious way. From being too scared to order coffee, to laughing about her macaroni moment at a fancy dinner, she proved that mistakes are not just lessons. They're also opportunities for laughter and connection. Her story reminds us that no matter how far we come, we'll always make mistakes. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's magical. So, the next time you make a mistake, don't stress. Laugh, learn, and keep going. Because in the end, life is not about being perfect. It's about being perfectly human. If you enjoyed today's story and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got so many more inspiring stories, practical tips, and fun lessons coming your way to help you master English and boost your confidence. And hey, if you're feeling extra motivated, leave a comment below and tell us, what's one mistake you've made while learning English, and what did you learn from it? We'd love to hear your stories and cheer you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, every step you take is progress, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. You've got this.